king, I reckon. XL Barracuda. I'm calling it for a big snap. It is! It's a big snap! Oh, bro. Mate! Probably dub into 20s, eh? Yeah. Yee-hoo! That's the bugger. Welcome to Rod and Reel's next hot products. So the fishing's going nuts at the moment. We've got fish everywhere out in the Gulf. We've got big kingfish starting to turn up out north and further down the line. In the Gulf we've got tons of snapper. They're getting ready to spawn. So what are we going to look at? We're going to look at what's slaying them out there at the moment and what we might be able to use on these kings in the upcoming weeks. So new to the New Zealand market, we've got the Shimano Kabera jigs. We've got a lot of Kabera jigs out there on the market at the moment. And these ones have been brought in for this season specifically by Shimano, and they've actually been designed so that they can be used on our fishery. So what they've done here is they've upgraded the hooks, so they've got really strong hooks compared to some of the smaller ones you'll see from overseas jigs, because they in general have a smaller fishery. Now why would you fish a Kabera? These are simple to fish, so they're kind of designed that anyone can fish them. They're designed to be fished slow, so get them to the bottom and then it's just a real slow wind. You keep winding nice and slow. When you feel a fish tap or a fish come on, keep winding, don't strike it. If you strike, you're going to pull the jig away from the fish. Keep winding. When you really feel that load come on and that fish pulling back, then you just increase your load and the hooks will be set. Why are these jigs effective compared to some of the others? One of the reasons is you essentially feed your leader through the head of the jig, through the skirt, and tie onto the actual hook set. So what that means is this head can slide up and down your leader. And the advantage of that is that when you hook a fish, it'll shake its head and you can feel those nods of a snapper, the classic nods. What it's trying to do is use that weight of the jig as a lever to get rid of those hooks. With these, when they shake their heads, this jig will slide away. So they're really effective at staying hooked up. There's 5 sizes and 4 colours. The sizes range from 45 grams right up to 130. So 45's your kind of inshore stuff. 130's this time of year when you start fishing deeper, 50, 60 metres, or when that wind's up. And there's 4 different colours. So we've got that green chartreuse, red gold, which is slaying it at the moment, a standard gold, which is very effective as well, and then probably second to that red gold is this orange lumo. So on dark days when you want things to stand out, this one comes into its own. So they are the Shimano Kabera jigs. Following on from them, they're designed to be fished nice and slow, real good in workups, or when the fish are tight to the bottom. When the fish aren't so active or you need them to strike, we've got something else for you. You may have heard of them or seen them. They're called the blue jigs or blue sea ride jigs. These things can dance all over the show. They have an amazing action and you can even make them do 360s. So these ones come out of Japan. They have a scalloped back to them, which makes them dart all over the show. The biggest sizes, which are the 120 and 180 grams, come unrigged. We have all the assist rigs for that. And then your smaller sizes, so 20s, 30s, 40s and 60s all come pre-rigged, so they're ready to go. So again, 20s you can use kind of micro jigs, kayaks and that shallower stuff, right up to 120s for the Gulf and 180s for kingfish. So these are called blue sea ride jigs, deadly on any of our species. So we've got all those jigs, what do we fish it on? Okay, so new to the market, once again for 2016, the Jigstart slow jerker. You may have seen the slow jerker from last season, which was a white model and it was called a 6032. Awesome rods. This year they've taken it another step further. These rods are made out of 30T and 40T Japanese Toray carbon. They have full Fuji guides, which are Fuji KW guides, full Fuji reel seats, and then split grips. So it means that they're nice and light and they can easily go under the arm. The other major thing that they've done with these rods is now they've got 3 in the series, a 6032, 6033 and a 6034, but the biggest improvement on these is what they've done is they've reinforced this section from that first guide down. So what that means is these rods now have a lot more lift than the older models. So for some of those bigger snapper and kingfish and things, you've still got an element of lift in these rods. Awesome rods. So the 6032 is designed for fishing jigs up to kind of that 100, 120 range, perfect for some of the stuff we've just looked at. The 6033 you could fish up to 140, 150, and the 6034 maximum jig size you could probably get up to 180 to 200 at its maximum. So, and they'll fish jigs below that. So that's the Jigstart slow jerker, all available in store now. So we've talked about stuff for the Gulf and for our workup fishing and that spring fishing at the moment. We also know we've got some big kings turning up. We've had some great reports of kings from Tutukaka and further north. We're starting to see them turning up at the Mokahinau's and outside Great Barrier, and obviously off Tauranga and Coromandel as well. So what do we got that might target those? First thing we got is the Suede Raft jigs. So these jigs are a little bit different to some of the ones you'll see on the market. Obviously really long profile to them, and what we know is that bigger fish usually like bigger jigs because it's essentially, to them, it's a bigger food source. But they have a big wide profile, so these things slide a bit more, so they don't go straight down, they'll slide and slide a bit more like that, so they give off a bit more vibration and a lot more flash. They come in 350 and 450 gram sizes and a range of different colours. So these are the Suede Raft jigs, deadly when you want to fish something where the jig's got a little bit more action. A lot of your kingy jigs come unrigged, and a lot of our stuff does, so what have we got for that? We've got the new BSA 90 Van Fuuk assist rigs. These things are awesome. Okay, so they come with a 300 pound Kevlar cord on them, which is reinforced with an integrated solid ring into them. Those solid rings are 400 pound as well. Now the hook design is similar to what's called the Gamakatsu tuned hooks. So they're designed so that they have a slight recurve on them, which means that when that hook touches into the fish's mouth, it'll roll and set itself. Okay, so it also means that once they're hooked up, it's a lot harder for that fish to dislodge that hook. They are super strong, and they have a really, really good point on them that won't burr and bend over. So these things come specifically out of Japan, made by Van Fuuk, and they're called the BSA 99s. And then finally, we've talked about the jigs, we've got the assist cord, you've got to attach it to your line. We've got what's called YGK Castman leader. So all YGK products, braid, leaders, everything else made in Japan. This one here is a supple copolymer leader. So this can be used either jigging or stick baiting. They start at 100 pound in terms of their weights and go right up to 200. But the advantage of this stuff is it still has excellent abrasion resistance, but really good when you want to present something or tying knots. Okay, so we know that fluorocarbon gets quite stiff in those heavier weights, and it's a lot harder to tie knots. This stuff's awesome to tie knots. But also when you want a little bit more action, something like that Suede Raft jig, or you want to get a stick bait to work properly, this is a nice supple leader and it's not too stiff. So this is the YGK Castman, and it comes in sizes 100 right through to 200 pound. So thanks for listening, guys. You can see we've got a range of products there that's going to suit all sorts of stuff at the moment. Obviously we've got heaps more in store. You can see half of it behind me. There's tons more. We're now open 7 days right through summer, so we're open on Sundays 10 till 3 as well. Obviously website's cranking. Give us a ring if you're not sure on anything or if you want to ask any questions. So all of this is available. All our guys use it. We know all of this type of stuff inside out. Feel free to come on in. We're open, like I say, all through the week and the weekends now. So get on down to Rod and Reel, and thanks for listening.